Good morning, AYS family. What is happening this morning? I hope you all are doing well. Wakey, wakey. Wakey, wakey. Wake y'all asses up. But it is AYS morning edition. It is early this morning. At least it feels early this morning for me. How about you? But hey, we're here. We're going to talk. We do have a lot to talk about again, which is always, I guess, a good thing. It's always a good thing to have a lot to talk about. So it's going to be a very interesting show. Coach Ed Orgeron is back in the news again. Me and Brody Miller, which I'm going to talk on Brody Miller. We had a conversation. I'm going to talk on that. I think Brody Miller actually was one of the individuals who had enough nads to confront the situation. I didn't agree with what he did, and I told him I didn't agree with what he did and how he laid it out. But we will talk on that. And look, it gave me a lot more respect for Brody Miller. And so maybe we can find a way to get him on the show, and we can talk about that, because debating and talking about it is something that we should be able to do without getting our panties in a wad. But we'll see. Hashtag Ask Blake, as we do on Saturdays. We get to all of your comments. Daronte Jones defensive breakdown. Watching this defense in the spring game and hearing what Daronte Jones has had to say over the last couple of months, I took a little dive into that last night. Watching the College World Series, breaking down a little bit of film in between pitches. It's kind of fun. And NC State is out of the College World Series, guys. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about NC State, but that's tragic. Man, you hate to see that. You know, some of the kids retested, but tested negative, but they were out because of contact tracing. Just unreal, man. Unreal. We'll talk on that as well. But let's get to a couple of these comments before we pay some bills. Call the Cat Dunn says, wakey, wakey. Let's go. Colin Thibodeau says, good morning, peeps. Robert Plaisant says, good morning, AYS family. So does Kevin and Kenny and Sam and Travis. They all say the same thing. So let's get to it. Chris Barnhill says, let's go. And Max Julian says, we are live and alive. Top of the morning to you as well, guys. So let's pay some bills, then we'll get to all of your comments, and none better than our good friends over at BetOnline.ag. Guys, the month of June is heating up, and so is BetOnline.ag. Now that the state of Louisiana is pushing forward to the mobile betting app, you need to get over to BetOnline.ag today to place all of your sporting bets, whether it be baseball, football, hockey, College World Series. It's even here. Go to BetOnline.ag, use your mobile device to sign up today, and you'll get 50% off your first welcome bonus. So, guys, set up, get that welcome bonus, and if you're in the state of Louisiana, they will know your good friend, Mr. Blake Ruffino at AYS, sent you on by. Okay. Brody Dupree says, morning, Blake. Any news on assistants? Let me tell you what I was told on the assistants for LSU baseball. I was told that Coach Jay Johnson has asked for the coaching assistant hires to be made public. That's what I hear. I'm going to leave it at that one. I think you're going to like them. I think they'll be good. If it is consistent of what people and he's telling people, I think it'll be good. But he's requested. They stay silent. So we'll wait and see. All right, let's get to this. Max Meyer says, do you think Ed Orgeron's future with LSU is in trouble? So let's start there. Yesterday, if you didn't see, Brody Miller broke some news. Finally, I guess, but finally broke some news. I say I don't mean it to Brody. I mean finally broke that this was going down. I should have rephrased that. But Brody Miller broke some news yesterday that Ed Orgeron was named as a defendant in a civil suit about a potential sexual misconduct, sexual allegations of rape against an individual on Darius Geis. Now, it is not a new story. If you remember, the USA Today came out with an article that a former player and his girlfriend allegedly, and the boyfriend allegedly talked to Coach Ed Orgeron about alleged rape from Darius Geis to this woman. Now, let me stop here. If this is true, I don't know if it is or if it isn't. It's heinous. And I'm not going to speak on Darius Geis because I can't, because the words that will come out of my mouth if I speak on Darius Geis won't be good. Because I feel like there's just too much around him. But let me say this. I do think yesterday that the media really did not portray, and I told this to Brody Miller privately, and we talked about it, so I'm going to share it with you. I don't think that they shared it in a way that was in a light that was positive towards Ed Orgeron. They came out with all of these claims and they did not use or say anything about Ed Orgeron in defending Ed Orgeron until I started confronting them. That's my opinion. So we had everything for about an hour coming out with Brody Miller saying this about LSU. When confronted, then I started seeing tweets from Brody Miller about, well, Ed Orgeron denies the claim. I don't know how this is going to play out. And everybody's saying, well, Blake, it's news. And I get that it's news, but it's the way that it's portrayed. Now, the conversation that I had, Brody Miller, I appreciated him coming to the forefront and coming to me and debating it. But I do see the side that Brody Miller was at least what he told me on what he said and what he was trying to do. Now, I told him, look, I'm just going to be honest. The way that it was perceived, not just by me, but by others on Twitter, didn't come off that way. It did not come off that way. And it was kind of confusing. And I get that there's only so many characters on Twitter. But, they put a link up to it. You could say, hey, look, Coach Ed Orgeron is being sued in reference to this allegation. Here is the defense. Like, this is how I would have worded it. And because I feel like this is the only way you can word it. Coach Ed Orgeron's being sued. Here's what the defendants are saying in the court case. Coach Ed Orgeron denies it. But he didn't really do that. So I will say this. I do respect Brody Miller. I do respect what he does. And I'm glad that he's actually one of the only ones that had the nads enough to come to me and to talk about it. I do see his point, and I'll let him come at the point of what he was trying to make, of how he was trying to do it. Maybe not enough time for him for what he says, and I can understand that. But it just was not portrayed in that light. Dang it, I forgot to hit this. God dog it. Forgot to put my comment in there. Let's pin it. Boom. So in reference to Max's question, which is, do you think Ed's future in LSU is in trouble? Not yet. No. Because we have one party saying that they told him. We have Ed Orgeron himself saying that never happened. So we kind of have a standoff of a he said, she said. Now, there are questions that I have for both parties. Okay, and I've made it known before, so if you haven't heard me say it again, I'm going to put it out there. The alleged victim told the boyfriend that this happened. They never went to the authorities. They never went to LSU. They never went to the Title IX office. They didn't go to anybody. The only way that this came to light was apparently, until a couple of years ago, apparently the former player went to Ed Orgeron and said, hey, my girlfriend was sexually abused against Darius Geis. And I hate even talking about that. I'm just going to use sexual assault against Darius Geis because I hate using those words. They really, and I think you should do something about it. Now, the player says that Ed Orgeron came to him and said something to the effect of, well, look, man, everybody cheat. All the girlfriends cheat. You just got to get over it. I'm not going to say I don't believe that happened. There are some things that it's really tough for me to believe because we've seen Ed Orgeron before the Title IX allegations ever came to light, what he does when he's got a complaint like that. And it's not his job to investigate. It is not his job to investigate that. That needs to be turned over. If you should not allow your head coach to investigate stuff like that. No way, no how. Could you imagine a head coach investigating something like that? I'm going to say this. We need to allow for due process. The last time I came my happy ass out here and said due process, due process, due process, I got kind of ripped to shreds a little from some, and some said, yeah, Blake, let's wait for due process. This is what we had last time when Ed Orgeron was in a defendant in the allegation. We had Gloria Scott. We just got to kind of say what it is, but she tried to get money from LSU. We have audio that was released from LSU saying that she spoke with now someone who's suing LSU for $50 million. We have her saying, well, I spoke with Sharon Lewis, and now Miss Gloria wants her money. That was released. She said she spoke with Ed Orgeron. Ed Orgeron said, I never spoke with her. Guys, do you understand how difficult it is for someone in the public to speak to Ed Orgeron? I mean, to a lot of people. So her case has kind of been put by the wayside because she tried to extort LSU. That came out of her mouth. I want my money. Miss Gloria wants her money. So we need to be careful with that. Now, I think that that's what I would attack on it, right? Like I would attack the fact, well, she spoke with Sharon Lewis. But, I mean, guys, there was a crime that was committed from Sharon Lewis and Gloria Scott. That's simple. Kenny says, I can hear Moscona babbling how Ed Orgeron is guilty. Yeah, he's going to do that. He's going to run out there and he's going to say, fire Ed Orgeron. It's coming. And what's crazy is without due process, if Ed Orgeron is guilty, yes. If there is proof that Ed Orgeron is guilty, fire his ass. But guys, there was a whole Hush Blackwell report. A whole Blackwell report that didn't show light on anything, that Ed Orgeron turned stuff in to Miriam Seeger. That's why Miriam Seeger got suspended. Now, whether you think that Verge Osbury and Miriam Seeger should have been fired, that's up to you. But there's records, there's phone calls of Ed Orgeron. When he heard it, he gave it over to them. Juice Washington says LSU, quote unquote, supports the report on Coach O. Bad news faster than anybody. Yeah, the reality of this is, the reality of all of this is that, everybody runs. And look, I saw this on Twitter. Here's what the other fan bases are doing. Ed Orgeron should be, I pulled a couple of them on Twitter. Ed Orgeron should be fired. Ed Orgeron is not a good person, and no one knows what he says. Ed Orgeron covered everything up. Guys, they didn't even take a chance to read the article. They didn't even take the chance to read the Hush Blackwell report. Nobody has. That was my question to Brody yesterday. Brother, did you read the Hush Blackwell report? This has been investigated. The reason Peter Parrish was cut from LSU is because it was given over to Baton Rouge PD and LSU PD. They found out that Peter Parrish, didn't look good for him. LSU and Ed Orgeron cut him before Title IX was even an issue at LSU. Ed has cut players and let players go for far less. Far less. And it comes off to me that I'm sitting out here trying to, this is what it feels like to me, that I'm an Ed Orgeron homer. I'm not. That Rudy Poo runs his happy ass out there and they start getting beat. he's subject to everybody. Like, I mean, I'm going to be subjective as much as I can. I'm also not going to run out here and say, fire him when we don't have all sides of the story. We have one party saying one thing, one party saying another. I do find it funny that Ed Orgeron has only made the one not funny, but I do think that there's some questions there. Like, from an Ed Orgeron perspective, why was Geis allowed to stay on the team after all this? Now, if they can find a reason that, hey, everything was, he was found innocent of everything, all right. But, I mean, he's just in too much stuff. From the other side, why did you never go to the police? Why did you never go to the authorities? That's a question. And now Ed Orgeron's being civilly sued. So there's a lot of questions there. Do not run out there and say fire Ed Orgeron when all the facts aren't in. Now, they're going to put the facts out there, but the defendant or Ed Orgeron's probably going to be deposed, and the complainants are going to be deposed. And I guarantee you that they're going to come out here and they're going to try to get a settlement from Ed Orgeron, which will make everybody, especially Ed Orgeron, look guilty. Guys, a settlement does not make you guilty. Anyway, Tony Two-Bet says, perception is reality. Modern journalists trying to frame an angle. Well, and that's what I told Brody Miller. Look, I guys, I gained a lot of respect from Brody yesterday, from him coming at the situation head on, but I did not like the way that he portrayed it. Because it was perceived, and it was perceived by not just me, not just LSU fans, but other fan bases across the country and individuals across the country, of what he was trying to portray. Not once did I see, I mean, I saw where he said Ed Orgeron denies these claims, but way farther down. Juice Washington says, why even bring up something already done if you're supposed to be an LSU supporter? Well, because I get what Brody was saying there. He was talking about because Ed Orgeron being sued is a big deal. I do agree that it is news, but I don't think it is, the way, again, that it was portrayed is a big deal. It is a big deal, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, it was the way, you would just have to see how he put it in there. All right, let's get to a couple more. Bundy says, that doesn't sound like, I call BS. Maybe. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, look, if Ed is guilty, fire his ass, and he should have more than just being civilly sued, right? Like, there's more to this that him, And I'm going to tell you this too. For me, I am sick and tired of having to run my ass out here and talk about this. I'm getting exhausted, guys. It's one thing to follow it. It's another thing to have to come out here and sit here and talk about it every single month. Because this is what happens. Number one, boom, the story breaks. 2, whoever the defendant is guilty. Number 3, oh, Blake, you're a homer. Number 4, I sit here and have to scream due process. Number 5, we get the results. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, we have to wait for the results. You have one side of the – well, you don't even have one side. You do have both sides. Ed Orgeron said it never happened. There's going to be people out there saying fire Ed Orgeron, and it's those same people that are – listen to me. I'm going to pull back the curtain, and I want you guys to connect the dots. The same people that are saying fire Ed Orgeron – come on. Guys, Ed Orgeron has been attacked before. Let's take the sexual allegations out of it. He has been attacked before because he's not one of those individuals that brings his happy ass to the country club and starts drinking cocktails with Rick. Hey, Rick. He's not Tom Herman. Tom Herman's a freaking Rudy Poo. Those individuals don't like Ed. They don't like him. They think that, they want the elitist. But say it, you know what? Say it to somebody's face instead, running behind people's back. All right. Joey Kent says agreed. If Ed is guilty, he must be done away with, but not until proven guilty. Well, they're not. They're not going to give him that. They're not giving him the due process that he deserves, which is sad. Lonnie Young says they want Coach O fired because they are scared of what he's that he's coming. I don't know why. Max Julian says #Ask Blake. I would pay to see Moscona come on your show, rant on that Rudy poo. We're trying to set something up. We're trying to, especially if he says, it's especially if he says. Now I'm assuming it's coming today. If he says fire it, look, I'm not backing down. Okay, this is nothing. Everybody keeps coming at me saying, "Oh, I'm trying to, be like Matt." Guys, we have 194 people in here. I don't need to. I don't need any of I don't need any of that. I don't need him. We're doing just fine. Thank you very much. But I'm going to call it the way I see it. If people are mad at me because I'm different and I run out here with a different way of doing things and calling out the bullshit, that's what we've built up on. This entire media I don't know what you want to even call it, conglomerate. They're upset because people, I got told by a media member this week. I can't make this up. I got told by a media member this week that the only reason I'm doing this is for likes, clicks, attention. And I sit here and I said, well, what are you doing it for? What are you doing it for? You got to understand, you didn't invest your money into this. You didn't spend your time, blood, sweat, and tears to build something up. You're an employee. I am not. So don't tell me that I'm doing this for likes and clicks and all. Am I probably a little narcissistic? Sure. Everybody who does this and comes on a show and talks, yeah, we got a little stupidity with us. We got a little, we ain't right in the head. But I also understand that, look, this is something that we're building. The truth is that you're upset that there's a new wave of media coming. People don't have to listen to you. People don't have to believe you. People don't believe you. Anyway, let's get off this topic. And let's talk a little Daronte Jones. So let's put this in here. If you got some football questions, let's get to some football or baseball. #Ask Blake. Let's put it inside the chat. Let's get away from this. But I've said my piece. I've said my piece on it, and we need to allow this to go through the process, and people are going to be deposed. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Russ Forney said, horrible news about NC State with the COVID protocol. I agree, man. I agree. If Vandy winds up winning it, there's going to be a huge asterisk. There already kind of is a huge asterisk. I've been seeing people say boycott the College World Series. I mean, guys, listen, I don't necessarily know. And the NCAA made an interesting point yesterday. And you guys know I don't like defending the NCAA. I don't know how much of really God, and I don't want to get into COVID politics. God, why are we getting in? They did have an interesting point. It did feel like for the first time that they didn't want to do something, and because of state, federal guidelines and CDC guidelines, they kind of had to. But I do feel bad for NC State, right? Like, I do feel bad for NC State. What a horrible way. And look, what's crazy is that they allowed the entire team on the field to take a picture on the College World Series logo last night, like 3 a.m. Those kids waited up till 3 a.m. to be able to go take a picture on the logo because they got to go home. That's sad, man. That's sad. Matthew says, "This is why I respect your show. You have been on point on everything since I've started watching you. Keep up the good fight, man. We are fans, but you can be objective, and we don't have to be fed the BS media every day. Fight the good fight." Well, I appreciate that. And look, there are some things that I'm going to be wrong on. There's some things I'm going to be right on. But one thing I think that is in our society has gone out the wayside is that we don't allow due process to happen. Like very rare do you have a smoking gun on scene, quote unquote, right? Like it's very rare. Like that's like saying that, I don't know. I'll use my brother because I love that's like me saying that my brother came to my house and punched me in the face. And then he says he didn't. I said that he did. Do you have any well, I mean, my face is ugly, but do you have any physical evidence that I got punched in the face? First off, let me write this down because he's going to absolutely love this. 28 minutes. He's going to love me saying him punching me in the face, but you don't have any physical evidence yet. First off, Brett Ruffino would never punch me in the face. Call me Ali, dog. Russ Forney says, any other baseball news on the assistants? I was asked, maybe not asked is a strong word, that from a strategic point, that it's going to be released after the Monday press conference. It's going to be released after the Monday press conference. I'm going to respect that. Matthew also says, hashtag ask Blake, how much longer till they announce Max the starter, and where do you think Miles Brennan goes? I think that they let this go all camp. I think that they let this be I think they let this go all camp because, look, for a depth perspective, you don't want Miles to leave. As much as people think I hate him, I don't hate Miles. I think you do, however, you do want Miles to stick around from that depth perspective, but I think that they let it go all camp. I also think that they've already let Max know. Guys, think about it like this. LSU hired an offensive coordinator that strongly an RPO a guy that runs a lot of RPOs and has told us he's going to want to run a lot of RPOs. They hired an offensive coordinator, a passing game coordinator that fits what Max does really well, not Miles. So they've kind of already told you what they want to do and where they see the future going. I'm not saying Miles isn't a good quarterback. Every time I say Max is separating himself or Max is doing this or that, people say, well, Blake, I always get the same thing. I had 17 comments, tag me in 17 comments after the video we posted up yesterday saying, Blake, that's just not true. Did you see what Miles did? I'm like, yeah, and I saw what Max Johnson did too. I also saw what Max did too. Jeffrey said, hashtag ask Blake, who do you think will be in our weekend rotation this upcoming season? That's an interesting question. I did hear little rumblings. I don't know if Landon Marceau's going to leave. I hear a couple things. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, if the kid gets drafted in the top 2 rounds, leave, but that's going to be interesting. I really don't know. You have Fowler, you have Coleman, you have a couple of players coming in. The weekend rotation is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Jeffrey, I really don't know that. I really don't know that. It's going to be interesting to see their approach to it too. And I think that Jay Johnson's going to come in here and want to shake some stuff up. Look, there were guys, one good thing about this, you're not going to hit 135 in this lineup and play. You're not going to do it. That's the one thing that I like about this a lot. And Stephen Miller's going to love this. And look, I don't know if Landon Marceau's going to come back or go, but there are some rumblings. Stephen Miller's going to love this. Kay Beloso's hitting over 500 in summer ball. Chris Williams says, I seen Troy Tulowitzki named as a candidate for hitting coach. Yeah, I mean, I saw Kendall confirmed our report. If you didn't see it after the show Thursday, I reported that Chad Kaye and was possibly in the mix there, and he is in the mix there. I do think that Troy would come to LSU to be a full-time paid assistant. Now, the guy doesn't need the money. So if he wants to stay at his alma mater, if he wants to stay at Texas, then and look, their season's not over. I don't know if that's going to happen. Rob Childress, who was the head coach at A&M. Look, Rob Childress, for guys, whatever, I don't know what people are really – he's a good pitching coach. So we'll see. And I don't know about Troy Tulowitzki. I mean, is one, a guy that made close to close to $100 million, how much does money really entice him? Like, this guy could be out there fishing and hunting and all this kind of stuff, and he's coaching college baseball in Texas. So for free, by the way, like not being paid to do it for free. So is money really going to entice him? I don't know that. I don't know that. Richie Mercer says, what would have happened if NC State pulled the upset yesterday and made it to the finals? Do better in NCAA. Yeah, and I don't know how much the NCAA really has a choice here on this one. I mean, they could have, I don't know. I wish they could have found a way to play, though. I wish they could have found a way to play. Jonathan says, do you think Thompson moves to second? No, I think the kid that just committed moved to second, and Zach Arnold's there. I don't think – unless this kid comes in and hits. But he is a left-handed bat. You like having left-handed bats in the lineup, so we'll wait and see on that one. We'll have to wait and see. Blaine Smith says, what was the team's reaction to Coach Jay Johnson? They're kind of spread out all over the place. They're kind of spread out, so I haven't really been able to ask. And the truth is that he's not going to be able to meet a lot of his players face-to-face for a little while now, unless he goes and talks to him and finds him. I think it's crazy Cade Beloso's hitting over 560 in the Summer League. Unreal. Max Julian says, ask Blake, who would be your choice for pitching coach? I like Rob Childress. I think that there's a chance there. We'll see. Kenny says, dang, Blake, your punching moves are quick. Nah, I don't know about that. I mean, just, we'll see. But I was just giving the example about my brother. Something that was interesting to me and I wanted to get to this morning is Coach Daronte Jones, defensive coordinator at LSU. Guys, I've been watching a lot of the spring game, going back and forth and watching and see what he was doing defensively. I don't know if offenses, they might now. The one thing I like about Daronte Jones, guys, nobody knows what the hell this guy's going to do. And I think that this has an element to it. I'm not going to say Joe Brady because that's, when you start comparing people and comparing things to Joe Brady, people start getting up in arms. People start, oh, but you can't say that. But does anybody really know what Daronte Jones wants to do on 3rd and 17? Does anybody know what he wants to do on 4th and 1 on the 1 yard line and the goal? Well, we kind of know what he'll do there. That's a bad example. What does he do on 3rd and 5 short in the 4th quarter and you're only up by 7? I'm going to tell you something that was interesting to me. They did this against Garrett Nussmeier. Now, I kind of talked about this Thursday. I kind of want to bring it back up. The way that they disguised their coverages. Now, they were in a lot of man-to-man coverage and a lot of bracket coverage on Kayshon Boutte. Remember when Derek Stingley got that interception? If you remember, Derek Stingley was in front of the wide receiver and Jay Ward was on top of him, literally sandwiching the receiver. They bracketed Kayshon Boutte for that interception against TJ Finley. What's interesting to me is that Jay Ward was in the middle of the field and right before the snap started breaking over to the short side of the field to cover over the top. the secondary and what the secondary is doing really has an NFL feel to it. The way that they show man at the last second, they broke out to a couple of zones. The way that they're playing man coverage, the way that they're passing off on they passed off on a man-to-man coverage. It looked like zone to me, but then I saw the top of the screen and both guys are in man-to-man coverage and they passed things off. And it looked really nice. And Dwight McGlothern got the pass breakup. Putting guys like Jay Ward in the slot, a safety in the slot, and having another guy in the middle of the field that can cover. You remember the first play of the game, Max Johnson tried to throw a little quick out route to Ty Davis-Price and got batted down by Jay Ward. They did not show us anything up front there, and they weren't going to. But the simple fact of the things that we saw on the back end, which was really chaotic last season, guys were getting confused in man-to-man coverage. They didn't get confused a lot. They didn't get confused a lot, especially this first team. And look, I don't want to overreact to a spring game because, guys, they're going to give up points. They're going to give up yards. They're going to give up points and they're going to give up yards. The question is, can this defense, like everybody bitched last year, Alabama fans bitched about firing Pete Golding. Guys, they were top 16 defense. They were the 16th defense in the country. Actually, no, let me back up. They were top 10 defense, only giving up 16 points per game. You mean it, guys? Do you mean to tell me that you wouldn't take? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you would like at the end of the season LSU only gave up 16 points a game. Like, give me a thumbs up. Would you take that? Because I'd take that in a heartbeat. 16 points a game, guys. I like what I saw on the back end from Daronte Jones. It's going to be interesting to see what Blake Baker does with the linebackers, and we know Coach Ed Orgeron is going to bring something with the D front. Justin, I'm not answering that question. Scotty Cobb says, #ask Blake, why would Jay not bring his current coaching staff with him, especially the hitting? The whole Arizona lineup hit over 300. Well, Yinsky, the pitching coach, is at A&M, and I think that he did want him to come. This is what I was told. I was told that Jay knew, I want to say late Tuesday, early Wednesday, that he was going to be taking the job. Actually, late Tuesday. So understand what I'm telling you. Who lost late Tuesday? Come on. And then he started making some phone calls for assistance. There's a reason why A&M was able to hire Yinsky so quickly. Was it Friday they hired, or Thursday night they hired him, or Friday morning that they hired him? They got some assistants in place. Oh shit. Okay, y'all got me. Whoo! I thought I exited out. I thought I just ended the show. Whew. Hello! Come here. Come here. Hello. Uruga! Tell him hey. Tell him hey. Say hey. Put your hat on, boy. You trying to be like daddy? Say hey. Oh, you poo-pooed. You poo-pooed. I can smell it. I can smell it. What you doing? Give me a high five. You like your hat? Hey, what's this? What's this? Why are you so shy when the camera's on? Hot? Hot? Yeah? Can I have a kiss? Mwah. All right, Daddy's almost done. All right, so you want to stay here with Daddy and talk? No? Okay. You poo-poo. Go see Mama. Bye. Love you. Love you. Yep. Chelsea says, hey, Batman. Yep. What were we talking about? I don't remember. David says, hashtag Ask Blake, any news? No, we've been talking about that. No, not really. Blaine Smith says, saw they doing a press conference on the field out at the box to introduce Jay Johnson. Fans welcome. Are you going, Blake? No. Yeah, we got a lot of thumbs up in here in reference to would you take your defense only giving up 16 points? Jeffrey says all day. Yeah, I mean, guys, come on. Chris Barnhill, I saw it was your birthday, dog. Happy birthday. Brian Williams says assistant coaches Blake. Guys, I think from a strategic standpoint, let's let this one go after Monday. I'm just let it go. And let me say this because this brings up an interesting point. Unless we're kind of told it can run out there, then we'll go with it. Let me say this: there are times. So we talked about reporting earlier this morning, right? Crappy reporting. There's sometimes you let some shit lie, right? Can you respect that? I know you want to know. You're going to know very soon. There's times that strategically you don't say shit. Understand what I'm telling you. You don't have to run your happy ass out there and start telling people what's going on. I told you Thursday some things aligned. We broke some news. It was confirmed. Not saying either that's going to happen. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. Just let it lie. Let it lie now. Don't let these Rudy Poos out here. I'm not saying they're going to be wrong. Not saying they're going to be wrong. Let it lie. Don't have to run your mouth on everything. Chris Williams says, I think B.J. Ojulari is going to be a stud this year. Chris, I agree with you there, bud. I mean, I completely agree with you there. He's got, I worry about him in the running game. Watching him this spring. Look, in that game, people have poo-pooed on Dare Rosenthal. Go watch Dare Rosenthal in those left tackles because people don't know what they're looking at. Go look at Dare Rosenthal against B.J. Ojulari in the running game. Go watch Dare Rosenthal in the passing game against B.J. Ojulari. Think Ojulari is going to be a stud. Guys, everybody freaking out about the O-line have no idea what they – guys, they had no idea what they saw. One thing that Max has to do, he's going to have to sit in the pocket a little bit more. He's got a little happy feet. I know Rohan Davey had talked about that. He goes, what are you talking about? The O-line did bad. Max is running around. And sometimes, guys, you have to run around to get throwing lanes open. Guys, that O-line did pretty good. Now, second team O-line, yeah, got some work. Couple more. TJ Landry says, in today's game, if your back end is solid and keeping the pass in check, you're going to win a lot of games. Love your analysis on everything. Keep it up. Thanks, TJ. Well, and look, your back end of the defense, they coincide with everything that goes up on front. Like if you can get after the passer, it helps the back end. If the back end locks some things down, it gives more time for your defensive linemen or linebackers or whatever, whoever's going to be going after the passer. It gives them more time to get after him. You can't have one without the other. Because when one starts slipping, the other one looks bad. All right, let's call this show. All right, guys, you're going to know baseball coaching assistant soon. That's number one. Let it lie. Just please trust me. Let it lie. You're going to be all right. Going to be all right. Just let it be. Number two, let due process play. Please let due process play out. I'm begging you. Please let due process play out. Number three, we'll see you soon. I feel bad for NC State. Last one. I'm going to get this one because Brandon Reese says, I'm interested to see who will start at linebacker and safety. Give me Mike Jones. Who Mike Jones? And Bug Strong. Damone Clark sprinkled in there. All right, guys, we'll see y'all again Monday. Y'all have a good weekend.